As Thakur advised repeatedly that the spiritual stomach of every person, every devotee, every practitioner of spirituality is not same. Spiritual stomach is not same. That's why mother cooks different in different ways, in different taste, so that suits to the person concerned. Like someone may like light fish soup, someone rich fish preparation, someone pulao, biryani made of fish, etc., according to the capacity of the spiritual stomach. Mind it is we are talking about the spiritual stomach. That means the status of the mind. Actually, the status of the mind. So that's why for one devotee, the approach to God may be through Gyan Margo, path of knowledge. For another, it means the Bhakti Margo, path of devotion. For someone, it may be the work, Karma Yoga, and for someone through deeper meditation. Actually, one has to remember that all the combinations are required from time to time in phases of life, but one thing is almost common, that is contemplation and meditation. Either we go to the path of karma, to the path of jnana, path of devotion. We have to have control over our mind. We have to attain the purity of the mind, because mind is the friend and mind is the foe. As in the Kathopanishad, it has been mentioned, mind is so restless, so much restless, that it may be like a monkey. Which type of monkey? That has taken liquor, that has consumed liquor. Moreover, maybe it has been stuck with the string of the honeybee. So one can try to understand how much restlessness has been in the combination of the mind and how much it is difficult to control it, because mind is more subtle, much more subtle than the air. Very difficult to control. Only deep practice of spirituality will control the mind. It will make the mind meditative, contemplative and meditative and concentrated. Then we will apply, then he has to apply his preference, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga. So just for a sort of a brief introduction, I am trying to do something. Bhakti Jog, as Thakur has told, seems to be more suitable for the present age. So, I am reading as an example few lines from the practice of presence of God by Brother Lawrence. What he had told, his maxim, all things are possible to him who believes. They are less difficult to him who hopes. They are easier to him who loves, and still more easy to him who practices and perseveres in the three virtues. It was told by Brother Lawrence. Then I am going to the few maxims from Brother Lawrence, just to exemplify the path of devotion, of necessary practice for attaining to the spiritual life. Number one, that practices which is alike the most holy, the most general, and the most needful in the spiritual life is the practice of the presence of God. It is the schooling of the soul to find its joy in His divine companionship, holding with Him at all times and at every moment, humble and loving converse without set rule or stated method in all time of our temptation and tribulation, in all time of our dryness of soul and disrelish of God. Yes, and even when we fall into unfaithfulness and actual sin. Number two, we should apply ourselves unceasingly to this one end, to so rule all our actions that they be little acts of communion with God. But they must not be studied. They must come naturally from the purity and simplicity of the heart. Number three, we must do all things thoughtfully and soberly, without impetuosity or precipitancy, which denotes a mind undisciplined. We must go about our labors quietly, calmly, and longingly, entreating Him, means God, to prosper the works of our hands. By thus keeping heart and mind fixed on God, we shall bruise the head of the evil one and beat down his weapons to the ground. Number four, when we are busied or meditating on spiritual things, even in our time of set devotion, whilst our voice is rising in prayer, we ought to cease for our brief moment as often as we can to worship God in the depth of our being, to taste Him, though it be in passing, to touch Him as it were by stealth, since you cannot but know that God is with you in all your undertake, that He is at the very depth and center of your soul. Why should you not thus pause, not thus pause and instant from time to time in your outward business and even in the act of prayer, to worship Him within your soul, to praise Him, to entreat His aid, to offer Him the service of your heart and give Him thanks for all His loving kindness and tender mercies. So it goes like that. Then I am going to that was the example of path of devotion. Now I am going to the great Astabakra Samhita, translated by Swami Nitya Swarupanandaji Maharaj. I am reading 4 ways to dissolution. It is in the path of knowledge. It is the example of knowledge. That means Jnana Yoga. Astabakra said, you are free from contact with anything whatsoever. Therefore, pure as you are, what do you want to renounce? Destroy the body complex, and in this way enter into the state of dissolution. Number 1. Number 2, the universe rises from you like bubbles rising from the sea, the snow, the self to be one, and in this way enter into the state of dissolution. Number 3, the universe, because it is unreal, being manifested like the snake in the rope, does not exist in your who are pure, even though it is present to the senses. Therefore, in this way, enter into the state of dissolution. Number 4, you are perfect and the same in misery and happiness, hope and despair, and life and death. Therefore, in this way, enter into the state of dissolution. So, I have gone through sort of a few small examples from in the path of devotion from Brother Lawrence, in the path of knowledge from Astabakra Samhita. Then I am telling few things, trying to remind about the Karma Yoga of Swami Vivekananda, and that is, it has got simile from the Bhagavad Gita also. So, do all work only for the others, and result of your work, you submit it to God. Don't worry about the success or unsuccess. Whatever may be the result of your sincere work to help others, do it sincerely earnestly and submit it to the lotus feet of God. That is Karma Yoga. And if we can remember just very easily that, as Swamiji told, they alone live who live for the others. They alone live who live for the others. This is Karma Yoga. Just if you can remember this much, then we are getting all the examples, path of devotion from Brother Lawrence, path of knowledge, Astabakra Gita, path of work from Swami Vivekananda's reminder. Actually, we have to practice everything all together in whatever form and ways and chance comes. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma sarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishna te namo yathagne daika shakti Ramakrishna stitaya sarvavidya sarupang tang sharadang pranamam maham namo Sri Jyotirajaya Vivekananda Suraya Satchit Sukha Sarupaya Swami Nitapoharine. Om Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.